if you're the first person that shows up to do your listing,
Uh-huh.
and even though you've sent them the package ahead of time and they've looked at it, how often or has it happened to you where people just say, oh, well, thank you very much, this was really informative, and we're gonna still talk to, 3 other
It
people
happens.
or whatever.
It happens.
And then by the end, I mean, if other realtors come in and they've got the same information you have, by the end, they're seeing, okay, this is just one person telling me this, is 4 people telling me this.
Right, but they never get back to you.
That's
That's
what
why
I
I
was gonna
close.
say.
I do my best to close at the
Yeah.
beginning, or find out, okay, you are already set up on other appointments, then let me be either first or last.
Okay.
And when I know that they're interviewing other people, sometimes at the beginning I'll say, once you've seen what I have to offer for you and the value I bring to this transaction, you may decide just to cancel those other appointments, and I'll make it easy for you, I'll make those phone calls.
Okay.
So,
It is.
so, yes, Kimberly?
When you had done your initial phone call, you
Mhm.
said, what do you charge?
Uh-huh.
And you said that depends based on your motivation
And
what else did
timing.
you s- And timing.
Right. And that was really to set it aside, and it almost never comes back up again. Seriously, especially when you send a package that has everything all typed up and the commission already in there. And the only thing left is to decide on the price. And if they're ready to do that, then I do the net sheet and fill out the listing agreement.
I noticed no discussion of marketing. Does that just or is that in your pre-listing package?
That's in this,
Okay.
and again, once I have agreement, then I'll go through this,
Okay.
if necessary. So,
So
Yeah.
just clarify, so if they won't sign the listing agreement, and they're like, well, before I sign it,
uh-huh.
can you walk me through your marketing plan?
Oh, sure, then we'll go through it, but the question, that I would have is, okay, obviously I've missed something, so let me ask you this, if we can set aside the price for right now, if we can agree on how we're going to work together and then come to agreement on the price afterwards, are you planning to hire me to sell your home? And then just,
If they say, well, I need to understand what you're gonna do for me.
okay, that's great, so does that mean if you understand and you feel comfortable, then we're gonna work together, right?
Possibly.
Okay. Yes.
What do you do with the client, when you get to the point where you're discussing your 3% and 3% or whatever? If they
Uh-huh.
say, well, can you do better than that, or?
Oh, we could make it 4 and 4.
Better, okay, when
Okay.
they stop laughing, then what do you?
I-
We're joking.
Which would you prefer? I mean, we could offer out 8% and offer 5 to the buyer's agent. Now, how fast do you think your home would sell with that kind of an incentive and the right price? Or do you want to just go with the normal commission and make sure we get all the strong buyer's agents?
But I heard Keller Williams will do it for 5.5. How do you counter those kinds of things?
Sometimes I fold my tent and go home.
Okay.
Because, and Dan knows, we're working with a client now that I've taken over from another agent, and she knows everything, she knows what the home should sell for, she has everything, she's taking no advice, and the other agent took a lower fee. Now, the question becomes, is it worth my time to put up with that, or should I spend my time finding people who will follow my advice? Because that's really what it boils down to. Yes?
If you're the second or third agent that the homeowner has interviewed,
Uh-huh.
and the other agents have just far overstated the worth of the
Sure.
house, just really the sole purpose is to get the listing and then come down later.
Uh-huh.
What's your best counter for that when they're just so unrealistic on the price?
Okay, it's Bob. Your name?
Bob?
Bob. Okay, Bob. I can appreciate that other agents might tell you that the home would sell for more. Can I tell you why that concerns me?
Sure.
Great. So, other agents who are absolutely desperate for a listing because this is the only piece of business they have, how likely are they to be honest with you about the price?
Well, they told me we could list it for a higher price and then come down in a week or two, and
Okay.
maybe try to get a higher price out of it.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you want someone who's going to be honest with you up front and tell you exactly what it's going to take to sell the home? Or do you want somebody who's gonna take a chance and then start beating you up on the price week after week after week? And actually put you behind the 8 ball, because all of the new listings will sell more quickly. Which kind of person would you like to work with?
Well, I'd like to get what I could out of it, but I want it to sell too. so.
Absolutely. So let's do this. Let's list it at a price that's going to cause a stampede. You know, this house that sold, and it actually sold for $600,000 in 4 days. That's the subject property. Because we had enough activity to generate 2 contracts, and it offset the thought of backing up to the Greenway. That's why we really, that was my strategy going in. We want to find the buyer's top line, rather, and find all the buyer's top lines, rather than have one random buyer at some point in the future come looking for your bottom line, which is better for you.
You know, list it for a price that would actually move the house.
Exactly, especially in today's market when everybody can see everything about everything and compare you in the middle of the night to your competition. So let's go ahead and sign the contract. So, yes?
And how flexible you are? Let's say they knew 600 is the best price they should do,
Uh-huh.
but they're still, they didn't tell you, but in their mind they're like, maybe we should take some chance. How about a 610? Will you accept that, or?
Well, what I'll do is say, okay, I can understand that your home may very well be worth 610. And yet, how soon do you need to be under contract?
Because I think,
'Cause
wish to be 4 days, but I kind of feel 4 days may mean my price is a little bit too low.
When you have multiple offers and the buying public is saying that 600 is the right price, it's not too low. If it was too low, it would have sold for 610, 625, 650. It's about having the courage to say, let's do this. Let's, if I brought you an offer today for $600,000, would you take it?
Probably.
Great, then let's go ahead and get started at that price. Why keep it a secret? Let's let everyone know. Because in this, one of the first item in the marketing plan says, price advertises motivation. You know, if you're motivated as a seller, the buyers will be motivated as a buyer to come buy your home. But you have to show it. You can't hide it.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Price advertises motivation.
So Pam, based on what she's saying, wonder if they really are sticklers and say, we really want to try 610, at least for a couple of weeks. How do you handle that?
Sign the contract.
And-
Because they're motivated. If they're not motivated, if they don't have a time frame and a place to go, then I'm not playing the game. But if they're motivated and just stubborn, then okay, we'll do this, And sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they sell for a heck of a lot more than I thought they would, and it's like, I'm happy for you. I learned from it. But I at least gave myself the opportunity. So, yeah. So, any other questions?
Yeah, and where did you have this? Is this something you created, or?
This is
did you
something,
have that?
yeah, I created
Oh,
this.
that's really
And
good.
actually, it's still a work in progress, but, yes, Dan?
Forgive me as that agent, I came in late, but.
I
did you-
videotaped
And
it
then
for
he's
you.
fussing with his phone. That's why I got on you.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you covered this, I apologize. but
No worries.
Can you share the types of items that go into your pre-listing package?
Oh, sure. And I didn't cover that before. What goes in the pre-listing package, actually I kind of did, are my credentials, who I am, how long I've worked in the business, how many sales I've had. And I do things like average days on market and average list of sale price. And I used to do it for over my 14 years, almost 15 years back in sales, but now I just do groupings by year. So for instance, in this, and I have a little booklet that I had designed by a local design company. This was all different pages of pieces that I kind of printed off and changed around and worked with my coach, and I with the Mike Ferry organization. So, but they gave me all these ideas, and then actually our former broker made me, from the very beginning of my career, keep an Excel spreadsheet of every transaction that has who it was, where it sold, the settlement date, their list price, my suggested list price, and the sold price, and days on market. So this, as a spreadsheet, tells me that over that almost 15 years, my, number one, I've taken 525 listings and sold 489 of them. One at a time, starting from scratch. Because when I moved here, when I started working here in Loudoun County in 2000, I had moved from Springfield and had been a broker for 12 years prior to that. So I had no sphere of influence. I just started making phone calls. I called around CC's listings. That's all I did. And I started building my business that way. And then I joined the Chamber of Commerce in 2002. And that has become a really great source of business for me as well. So anyway, back to credentials, and you can look through this. Track record, pre-listing, or excuse me, the market analysis is in here, and also a listing contract. So, and there's a couple of other odds and ends, like a list of contractors that I work with if somebody needs help with moving, painting, you know, a hotel to stay in locally when they're in the midst of all of the excitement, whatever. It's all right here as part of the pre-listing package. So, yes.
And for those of you who don't have credentials at this point, and you don't have 5 or 10 or 20 years of data points, then you should just use things that your office can provide, or the company as a whole can provide.
Right.
So using the marketing tools that are online through the cafe, or coming to me and saying, Dan, how's the office done over the past year? And I can get you those data points. So just use anything that works for you.
Right. Right, and, you know, that's what I started out with, was the company statistics. And Kimberly and I had this conversation a couple of days ago. I am as amiable can be. It is difficult for me to talk to people I don't know, but that doesn't pay the rent. You know, you don't get paid for not talking to people in this business. You have to be on the phone, in person, knocking on doors, going after people. You know, when you generate, you don't have to tolerate. I find the more business I have, especially listings, the less time I actually end up working, because I can take weekends off. Someone else is working for me. And so, you know, I'd love to see Loudoun Foster just corner the market on listings in Loudoun County and Fairfax County, Reston. And I do a good bit of business there too. So, and it's just all about being of value. You know, when you show that kind of strength and conviction, are they gonna say no? Seriously? Especially if they've interviewed a different agent who doesn't have this type of material and can't say to them, you know, the truth is, this is what the market will deliver. You know, at $659,000, your neighbor is the highest bidder on his home. Do you want to be in that position? Or do you want to find a buyer who will bid for your home? Or several? You know, let's do this.
You know, we have an agent in Ashburn who says, numbers don't lie, neither do I. And I think that's important to make sure they understand that it's the reality of the situation.
Right.
And as Bob pointed out earlier, there are agents that will tell you what they want to hear
Right.
in order to gain the listing.
And I've looked at sellers in the eye and said, that person is just buying your listing.
Right.
That's all they're trying to do. You know, they're in a position where they feel like telling you the truth is not a smart thing because they need the business. You know, would you rather have someone tell you the truth and know up front what the issues are? Or do you want to be surprised later, especially with someone who's not, if they can't tell you the truth about the price, are they gonna follow through on the marketing plan that they've laid out, if any?
And the only way they can know your price is if they're going to buy it themselves.
Exactly.
Which, we actually had one not long ago where the agent said, if I don't sell it, I'll buy it myself, and it came off the market as a withdrawal.
Yeah,
So clearly that didn't work out.
right. Well, the other thing, another objection that comes up is, well, Zillow says my house is worth X. And whenever they say that, I just smile and, you know, kind of lean back and chuckle and say, okay, well, I don't have their phone number, but why don't you give them a call and see if they'll buy it at this price? Seriously. I mean, if you scroll down and click through Zillow, about 2 pages back in, you'll see that they say right on their website that the price